What's up? It's Johanna with God is Glamorous, where we learn how to live our best lives through Jesus Christ. And today, we're going to be talking all about how to choose godly friends. So again, welcome to God is Glamorous. My name is Johanna. If you're new here, go ahead and make sure to like and subscribe because I post every single Sunday night. All right, so let's get right into it. How to choose godly friends and why should you choose godly friends? So there is no question that your friends determine your future. And in fact, you are the average of the closest 5 people that you spend the most time with. So it's really, really important to make sure that you choose your friends wisely because they do ultimately influence and determine your future. So I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Well, this statement is actually nothing new. It actually comes directly from the book of Proverbs. So in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20, it says, walk with the wise and become wise, associate with fools and get into trouble. So all these sayings about how your friends determine your net worth and your friends determine your behavior and your friends determine your future, that is literally true. It is nothing new. If you've ever heard the saying, if you have 4 broke friends, you're most likely about to be the 5th. That's so true. So it's really, really important to make sure that you get around people that you aspire to be like, that you get around people that you can learn from. It's also really important to make sure that you choose your friends wisely because your friends also determine your behavior. So it says in Proverbs chapter 22, verses 24 and 25, don't befriend angry people or associate with hot-tempered people, or you will learn to be like them and endanger your soul. So in Proverbs chapter 22, verses 24 and 25, it's saying, do not associate with angry people because you'll become just like them and it will endanger you. And that's really, really important because how many times can you recall spending a lot of time with a person and you start adopting their language and you start adopting their habits? And that's just natural. You become more like who you spend your time with. So if you're hanging around broke people, you're most likely going to adopt a poverty mindset. If you're hanging around lazy people, you're most likely going to become lazy. If you hang around angry people, you're most likely going to become angry. And the opposite is true as well. If you hang around people who believe in greatness and believe that anything is possible, you're going to adopt that mindset of greatness as well. So it's really, really important to choose your friends wisely because ultimately you are going to adopt their characteristics. And lastly, one of the best reasons as to why you need to choose your friends wisely is because they determine your character. So in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33, it says, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. So if you're constantly spending time with people who don't have good intentions or who are doing the wrong things or not living a life that is going to be pleasing to God, you're going to fall right into that trap. So make sure that you take choosing your friends seriously because it really is going to determine the outlook in the future of your success. So you may be wondering, well, how do I choose godly friends? Well, I got you because I'm going to give you the top 5 things to look out for when you are choosing your friends. So the first thing that you need to look out for when you are choosing godly friends is to get you some friends that you can pray with. This is so, so important, and I cannot stress this enough. There are friends who will be there for you to just be a listening ear, but you take it to a whole new level once you get some friends who can pray over you and pray with you. So as you go through life, you're going to have some friends who may say, oh, come over and let's have a drink and let's talk about it. Those are good friends, but the great friends are the ones that say, I'm going to pray with you. I'm going to pray over you. I'm going to pray with you to help you through this situation. And that takes the cake over any kind of friendship. So I recently had to go through separating myself from someone that I really, really cared about, a friend that I really, really cared about. And I was upset about it, and I didn't want to end the friendship, but I just felt like it was the best thing to do. And I was sad. So the first thing that I did was I called my sister. It was 6 a.m, and I called her and let her know what happened. I was like, hey, I really need you to pray with me right now. And she dropped everything that she was doing, and she prayed with me. Then my mom calls me a couple hours later. I let her know what happened, and she prayed with me. And she prayed with me for almost 30 minutes. And after that, I just felt so much peace, and I just felt so much better about the decision that I made. And we not only prayed for me, we also prayed for the other person. And it was just priceless. So you may have some good friends who are there to talk you through it and give you great advice. That's also great. But having friends that can pray with you and pray over you when you're going through a really tough situation, that is priceless. So make sure that you get some friends that you can pray with. Get you some friends like Jesus. Jesus was constantly praying, not only just praying by himself, praying for his disciples and teaching his disciples the best way to do things. And this reminds me in the book of Matthew, right before Jesus was about to be crucified, when he was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, Peter took out his sword and tried to defend Jesus by cutting off one of the soldiers' ears. And Jesus said, "No, put back your sword. If you live by the sword, you will die by the sword." And you need friends who are also able to correct you whenever you are doing something wrong, when they say, "Hey, that's not right. Do this instead." When you feel like you want to gossip or cuss someone out and they're like, "No, no, no, we're not going to do this. Let's pray for them instead." You need some friends who are able to let you know when you're wrong and to transition your behavior to do things that God would actually want you to do. So not only keep praying friends in your circle, but also keep people in your life who are able to correct you when you do something wrong so that you can ultimately grow as a better person. So the second thing that you need to look out for when you are choosing godly friends is that they need to be peacemakers. They need to be the ones that avoid drama at all costs. These are the people that calm situations down, and they create solutions that quickly bring about peace. Get you a friend like Abraham. So Abraham had a close family member. His name was Lot, and they were both wealthy. They had lots of cattle, lots of sheep. In the biblical days, if you had a lot of animals, then you were considered wealthy. And as they were migrating to a new location, they decided to settle in one location. And Abraham had his entire family with his possessions, and Lot had his own. And during this time, there was just so many people and so many animals that they weren't able to actually live in the same place. It just became too crowded. And the people that worked for Abraham started arguing with the people that worked with Lot, and it just became this huge problem where no one would stop arguing. And Abraham came to Lot and created a solution that quickly dissolved the situation and allowed for them to have more peace. So in Genesis chapter 13, verse 9, it says, "Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go left, I'll go right. If you go to the right, I'll go left." So Abraham goes to Lot and he says, "Look, there is enough room for all of us, but it's not here in the same space. So this is what we can do. You can stay here and I can move, or you can move and I can stay here." So this was such a selfless decision on Abraham's part. And this is exactly how your friends' characteristics should be as well. They should be selfless and they should be peacemakers. And when they see that a situation is about to get hot and heated, they quickly are able to dissolve the situation and offer solutions that will ease tensions. So get you some friends who are peacemakers. Get you a friend like Abraham, who they avoid drama at all costs, and they offer solutions that are in the best interest of the other person. So while you are choosing your godly friends, you need to get you some friends who will put a hole in the roof. And what do I mean by that? Well, in the book of Mark, there were 4 men who had a friend who was paralyzed. So they were in the city of Capernaum where Jesus had arrived. And by this time, Jesus was huge. Everyone knew about Jesus, and everyone was trying to get to Jesus. And it was so crowded. No one was able to move. No one was able to get to Jesus. And they knew that if they just got to Jesus, then their friend would be healed. So there was no way to get into the house. So what did they do? They climbed on top of a roof, and they put a hole in the roof to get to Jesus, and they lowered their friend down so that Jesus could heal their friend. So you need to get some friends who will put a hole in the roof, not physically, not someone that will physically damage someone else's property, but someone who truly has your best interests at heart and will do whatever they need to do to make sure that you become a better person. Maybe you need someone who pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you need someone who calls you at 5 a.m. to remind you to get up in the morning. Maybe you need someone to remind you that you need to start eating healthy if you want to get into better shape. Choose some friends who will put a hole in the roof. Choose some friends that will go above and beyond to make sure that you are a better person. And not only choose friends who will do that for you, also be a friend that would do that for someone else as well. All right, so the fourth thing that you need to look out for when you are choosing godly friends is to choose friends who you can learn from. If you are the smartest person in the room, you need to find a new room. You should never be the smartest person in the room. You should always surround yourself with people who you can learn and grow from. So get you a friend like Jethro. So in the book of Genesis, Moses has a father-in-law. His name is Jethro. And Moses spends his time judging. So he has all these people, and all these people bring him their problems. And Moses, because he is so wise, he is constantly letting people know who's right, who's wrong, and how they are able to come to a solution. So Moses literally spends his entire day resolving people's conflicts. And when Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, sees this, he goes to Moses and offers a better solution. So it says, the next day Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people, and they stood around him from morning till evening. When his father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, "What is this you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, while all these people stand around you from morning till evening? But select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Have them serve as judges for the people at all times, but have them bring every difficult case to you. The simple cases they can decide themselves. That will make your load lighter because they will share it with you." So Jethro gave this incredible piece of advice to Moses, and he said, you need to start delegating your task. Appoint men who are trustworthy, who fear God, who don't like selfish gain. Put them in charge and give the smaller tasks to them, and the hard tasks, they can come to you. So that way you are able to free up your time and have more time to do things that are important to you. And that was such great advice that Jethro was able to give Moses. And you need to have people just like that in your circle. You need to have people who you can learn from, who can inspire you to be better, who can push you outside of your comfort zone. You need people who you can learn from and that are smarter than you. Just like in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17, it says, just like iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. So make sure that you have people on your team that sharpen you and allow you to become wiser and smarter. All right, and the last thing that you need to look out for when you are choosing godly friends is to make sure that you have people in your circle who have a mindset of greatness. So if you are hanging around people with a poverty mindset, if you are hanging around people who don't believe in the great possibilities that God has for them, you are going to adopt the same mindset, and that is such a dangerous mindset to be in. You need to get you some friends like Joshua and Caleb. So in the book of Numbers, God is prepping the Israelites to inherit the promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey. So God tells Moses to gather up 12 spies to check out the promised land, to essentially give a SWOT analysis to scope out the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. They're checking out the soil, they're checking out the people, they're checking out how the territory is built. They're just checking out everything to come back to the Israelites and give a full report. So when they come back, they are ready to give a report to the Israelites, but the 10 out of the 12 say, the land is pretty nice, like it's pretty legit, everything is great, but there's only one problem. There are giants in that land and they will defeat us. But Joshua and Caleb are like, no, the Lord is gonna be on our side. Like we can fight them. All you have to do is have faith. So it says, but Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once to take the land, he said. We can certainly conquer it. But the other men who had explored the land with him disagreed. We can't go up against them. They are stronger than we are. So they spread this bad report about the land among the Israelites. So 10 out of the 12 spies, they came back to the people and they said, hey, this land is amazing, but there's only one problem. There are a bunch of giants, and there's no way that we can defeat these giants. So they just spread this bad news and this bad report, and everyone believed what they said. And as a result, no one was able to inherit the promised land simply because of their unbelief. But Joshua and Caleb, they actually believed in the power of God, and they believed that with God, anything is possible. And because of that, God rewarded them and allowed them to inherit the promised land, even though everyone else wasn't. So get you some friends who have a mindset of greatness, because when they have a mindset of greatness, that mindset is going to spill and drop all over you as well. So make sure that you are choosing friends that have a mindset of greatness and believe that with God, all things are possible. So that was a lot of information, so let's go over a recap. Number one, get you some friends that you can pray with. Get you some friends that can pray for you. Number two, choose friends that are peacemakers. Choose friends that like to avoid drama, that avoid gossip, and the ones that quickly come up with solutions to bring about peace. Number three, get you some friends that will put a hole in the roof. Get you some friends who want to see you win. Get you some friends who want to see you do better. Get you some friends who will do anything to make sure that you are in the best possible situation, and more importantly, make sure that you do the same for them. Number four, get you some friends who you can learn from. Get you a Jethro. Find some friends who you're able to learn from. Find some friends that will help you grow. And lastly, get you some friends who have a mindset of greatness. Also, if you have any more great suggestions on what we all should look out for when choosing godly friends, leave them in the comments below. I definitely want to hear about them. And also make sure to check out these videos to get closer to God, and be sure to subscribe as well. Other than that, thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week. Stay glamorous.